Mothy ASMR, and I wanted to do some reading for you. I wanted to read something with a bit of a limerick, lyrical beat to it. And one of my favorite stories and one of my favorite movies is The Green Knight. I really like The Green Knight. So I will be reading a bit of that for you. And without much delay, I'm going to jump right in. This is Sir Gawain and The Green Knight, translated by Jesse L. Weston, in parentheses, publications, Middle English Series, Cambridge, Ontario, 1999. Book 1. Since Troy's assault and siege, I trow were overpast, to brands and ashes burnt that stately burg at last, and he, the traitor, proved for some reason he wrought, was fitly tried and judged, his fortune elsewhere sought, the truest knight on earth, Aeneas, with his kin, who vanquished provinces and did, as princes, win of all the western isles the wealth and worth alway. Rich Romulus to Rome full swift hath to end his way. First hath he founded fair that city, in his pride to which he gave his name it bears it to this tide. Tisius doth dwellings found, turning to Tuscany and Langobard, a race raised up in Lombardy, but Felix Brutus sailed full far o'er the French flood, and on its banks so broad founded Britain the good in bliss, where war not wonder fail, and ne'er have done uis, nor shall both bliss and bale their shifting chances miss. And when the Baron bold had Britain made, I trow bold men were bred therein, who loved strife well enow, and many a war they waged in those good days of yore. Of marvels stern and strange in this land many more have chanced than otherwhere since that same time, I ween. But of all kings who e'er o'er Britain lords have been, fairest was Arthur all and boldest, so men tell. Therefore I think 'tis shrew a venture that befell in this time, which some men for a sheer wonder hold, and strange above all tales that be of Arthur told. If ye will list this lay a little while, in sooth, I tell ye as I heard it told in town for truth, with tongue as it doth stand to wit, in stories stiff and strong, in letters fairly writ. The land hath known it long. At Camelot lay the king all on a Christmas tide, with many a lovely lord and a gallant knight beside, and of the table round the rich brotherhood high reveal hold aright, and mirthful was their mood. Oft times on tourney bent those gallants sought the field, and gentle knights in joust would shiver spear and shield. Anon would seek the court for sport and carol gay. For 15 days full told the feast was held away, with all the meat and mirth that men might well devise. Right glorious was the glee that ranged in riotous wise. Glad clamor through the day, dancing throughout the night. Good luck throughout the hall and chambers well bedight. Had lords and ladies fair, each one as pleased him best. With all of this world's weal they dwelt, those gallant guests, for Christ no braver knights had faced or toil or strife. No fairer ladies e'er had drawn the breath of life. And he, the comeliest king that e'er held court, forsooth, for all this goodly folk, wherein this first youth, and still the happiest under heaven, a king, a stalwart will, 'twere hard with them to even another host on hill. So young the new year was, methinks it just was born. Double upon the dies they served the meat that morn. Into the hall he came with all his knights, the king, in as the chapel choir to end the mass did sing. Loud rang the voice of clerk and cantor there aloft. Noel, Noel, they sang, and cried the world full oft. And sithen forth they run for handsel fair and free. Their New Year's gifts they pray or give them readily, and then about the gifts they make debate enow. And ladies laugh full loud, though they have lost, I trow. And this mirth they made till meal came anon. The board was set, they washed, and then in order meet the noblest above each gallant took his seat. When Gaynor gaily clad stepped forth among them all, upon the royal dais high in the midmost hall, Sandal swept at her side, and eke above her head a tapestry of tars and choice Toulouse outspread, and all embroidered fair and set with gems so gay that might be proved of price, and yea, their worth would pay one day. Right fair she was, the queen, with eyes of shining grey, that fair he had seen no man might soothly say. Arthur he would not eat till all were served with food. Glad of his gladness, he somewhat of childlike mood. A changeful life he loved, he liked it not a whit, either or ere long to lie, or in long to sit. So chafed his youthful blood, and eke his busy brain, also a custom good, to which the king was fain. Thro' valour stablished fast, that he never would eat on such a high, holy, yet adventurous meat, were told unto his ear, or wondrous tale anew, or else some marvel great, that he might well allow, tales of his father's days, of arms, of emprise high, or in some night besought another's skill to try, to join him in joust, in jeopardy to lay life against life, each one on hap of knightly play. As fortune them might aid in quest of honour fair, this was his custom good, when as in court he were, at each high holiday among his courtiers there, in hall, fair-faced and free of fear, he sitteth o'er them all, right keen in that new year, and maketh mirth withal. Thus in his place he stands, the young and gallant king, before the royal board, talking of many a thing. There good Gawain, gay clad beside Gaynor, doth sit, Agravain, Dermain beyond her as is fit, both the king's sisters, sons, and knights of valiant mood. High at the table sits Baldwin the bishop good, and Gawain, Urien's son, doth with the bishop eat. These on the dais are served in seemly wise, and meat, full a many gallant knights, sits at the board below. See where the first course comes, while loud trumpets blow, with many banner bright, that gaily waves thereby, and royal roll of drums and pipes that shrill on high. Wild warblings wakened there, and sweet notes rise and fall, till many a heart swelled high within that castle hall. Dainties they bring therewith, and meats both choice and rare, such plenty of fresh food, so many dishes bear. They scarce might find a place to set the folk before, the silver vessels all that savoury messes bore. On cloth the guests they help themselves, thereto they be not loth. Each twain had dishes 12, good beer and red wine both. Now of their service good I think no more to say, for each man well may wot no lack was there that day. Noise that to them was new methinks now drew anear, such as each man in hall were ever fain to hear. For scarce the joyful sounds unto an end were brought, and scarce had the first course been fitly served at court, when through the hall doors rushed a champion fierce and fell, highest in stature he of all on earth who dwell, from neck to waist so square and eke so thickly set, his loins and limbs alike so long they were and great, half giant upon earth I told him to have been. In every way of man, the tallest he, I ween, the merriest in his might, that ere a joust might ride. Sternly his body framed, and back and breast and side, belly and waist alike were fitly formed and small, e'en so his features fair were sharply cut withal, and clean. Men marvelled at his hue, so he was semblant seen. He feared as one unfewed, and over all was green. All green bedight that knight, and green his garments fair. A narrow coat that clung straight to his side he wear, a mansel plain above, lined on the inner side with costly fur and fair, set on good cloth and wide. So sleek and bright in hue, therewith his hood was gay, which from his head was doffed, and on his shoulders lay, full tightly drawn his hose, all of the same green, well clasped about his calf, thereunder spurs full keen, of gold, on silken lace all striped in fashion bright, that dangled beneath his legs. So rode that gallant knight. His vesture verily was green as grass doth grow, the barring of his belt, the blithe stones set a row, that decked in richest wise his raiment fine and fair, himself his saddle bow in silken broideries rare. 'Twere hard to tell the half, so cunning was the wise, in which 'twas broidered all with birds and eke with flies. Decked was the horse's neck, and decked the crupper bold, with gauds so gay of green the centre set with gold. And every harness boss was all enamelled green. The stirrups where he stood were of all the self same sheen. The saddle bow behind the girth so long and fair, they gleamed and glittered all with green stones rich and rare. The very steed beneath the self same semblance where he rides, a green horse great and tall, a steed full stiff to guide. Embroidered bridle all he worthily bestrides. Right gaily was the knight bedecked, all green his weed, the hair upon his head, the mane of his good steed. Fair floating locks enfold his shoulders broad and strong, great as a bush the beard that on his breast low hung. And with his goodly hair that hung down from his head, a covering round his arms above his elbows spread. Laced were his arms below, in the self same way, as a king's capadoce that clasps his neck alway. The mane of that great steed was well and deftly wrought, well crisp and combed the hair with many knot encaught, folded with golden thread about the green so fair. Here lay a twist of gold, and here a coil of hair. In self-same wise the tail and topmost crest were twined, a band of brightest green the twain alike did bind, which set with precious stone hung the tail's length adown, then twisted in a knot on high the crest did crown. Therefrom hung many a bell of burnished gold so bright, such foal upon the fell bestridden by such knight, so near within the hall before of mortal sight were seen, as lightning gleaming bright, so seemed to all his sheen, they deemed that no man might endure his blows so keen. Nor helmet on his head, nor hauberk did he wear, gorget nor breastplate good as knights are wont to bear, nor shaft to smite, no shield that blows might well withstand, naught but holly bow he carried in one hand. When all the groves be bare, then fullest is it green, and in his other hand a huge axe, sharp and sheen. A weapon ill to see, would one its fashion say, the haft it measured full, and elyard long alway. The blade of good green steel, and all with gold inlaid, right sharp and broad the edge, and burnished bright the blade, to sharpened well to cut in, as a razor good. Right well the steel was set in staff so stiff of wood, and iron bands to bind throughout the length bare, with cunning work of green all wrought and graven fair, twined with a lace that fell in silken loops so soft, in the head adown the haft 'twas caught full oft, with hanging tassels fair that silken threads entwine, and buttons of bright green all broidered fair and fine. Thus in the great hall door that knight stood fair and tall, fearless and free his gaze he gat down the hall. Greeting he gave to none, but looked right steadily towards the royal seat, and quoth, "Now where is he, the lord of all this folk? To see him am I fain, and with himself would speak, might I the boon attain." With frown he looked up the knights and paced him up and down, fain would he know all right who was of most renown. Then each man gazed amain, each would that hero see, and each man marvelled much what might the meaning be. That man and horse alike of such a hue were seen, green as the growing grass, and greener still, I ween. E'en then enamel green on gold that gloweth bright. Then all with one consent drew near unto that knight. A marvelling fell they all who he might be, yowise, for strange sights had they seen, but none so strange as this. The folk they deemed it well phantasm or fairy, and none among them all dare answer speedily, but all the stoined gaze and held them still as stone. Throughout that goodly hall, in silence every one, their faces change as they by sleep were overcome. Suddenly, I deem not all for fear, but some for courtesy they fain would lend an ear, and let the king reply. Arthur before his days beheld this marvel fair, and boldly did he speak, for dread he knew it ne'er, and said, "Right, welcome, sir, to this my house and hall. Head of this hostel, and I, Arthur, me men call. Alight from this thy steed, and linger here, I pray, and what thy will make be hereafter shalt thou say." "So help me," quoth the knight, "the God who rules o'er all, I came not here to bide within thy castle wall. The praise of this thy folk throughout the world is told. Thy burg, thy barons, all bravest and best they hold. The stiffest under steel who battle steed bestride, wisest and worthiest they throughout the whole world wide, proven right well in joust and all fair knightly play, renowned for courtesy, so have I heard men say. And this hath brought me here, e'en this Yuletide fair, for be ye well assured, by this green branch I bear, that I would pass in peace and seek no battle here. For an it were my will to ride in warlike gear, I have at home a helm, a hauberk good and strong, a shield, and shining spear, with blade both sharp and long, and other weapons good that well a knight beseem. But since I seek no war, my weeds are soft, I ween. And if ye be so bold as all men say ye be, the favour that I ask ye sure will grant to me. Of right, Arthur he was not slow to speak, I trow, Sir Knight, and here thou seekest a foe, thou shalt not fail for fight. Nay, here I crave no fight, in sooth I say to thee. The knights about thy board but beardless barons they be, and I were fitly armed upon this steed so tall, for lack of strength no man might match me in this hall. Therefore within thy court I crave a Christmas jest, to Yuletide and New Year, and here be many a guest. If any in this hall himself so hardly hold, so valiant of his hand, of blood so brain so bold, that stroke for counterstroke with me in exchange he dare, I give him of free gift this gisarm rich and fair, this axe of goodly weight to wield as he see fit, and I will bide his blow as bare as here I sit. If one will test my words and be of valiant mood, then let him swiftly come and take this weapon good. Here I renounce my claim, this the axe shall be his own, and I will stand his stroke here on this floor of stone, that I in turn a blow may deal that boon alone. I pray, yet respite shall he have a 12-month and a day. Now quickly I thee crave, who now hath aught to say. And I think I'm going to end it there for this video. This has actually been taking a lot of editing. We're going to leave off on part 14 of this poem, and I will continue in the next video that I do of this series. This is one of my favorite stories, so I hope you enjoy it. I think it makes a really good bedtime story. It has a very nice rhythm, and I enjoy reading it and jumping from word to word. It's a pretty difficult read, but it's nothing I can't handle, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. And I hope it relaxes you as much as it's been relaxing me. I've had a pretty long day, so I'm gonna hit the hay now, but thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. I hope you enjoyed me reading. And yeah, have a great night, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, my friend.